Well, g'day and welcome to Sunset. Check it out. Beautiful sun just going down there. Pedro going down behind the hills. All right, so lesson 29. God is in everything I see, including that sunset, but is not the sunset. Tricky, isn't it? All right, so God is in everything I see, and in is the key word that alludes to the true nature of God as the formless spirit that we make manifest as form. I don't know if that makes sense, but God is formless, but because we have free will, we choose to see God as shapes and images and people and things and sunsets. And that's the power of our mind, right? To manifest a world external to ourselves and put ourselves in it as the dreamer of the dream. And one of the incredible, or the main incredible thing about this book, when you do it properly and when you give your life and your devotion to it, is that the experience that you can have of your own enlightenment, or your what would you call it, your awakening from the physical nature of things, is an experience of the formless nature of God. And from that you will never recover, thankfully and joyously. It will be something that will remain with you as the focal point of your being for the rest of your days. And it will help you to have life, and have life more fully, which is a biblical quote, right? To have life is your natural inheritance. As you were created, you have life. But to have life more fully is to know of life and to know of yourself as life in a place such as this world, wherein it seems that life all ends in death, right? So to have the gift of knowledge, to have the gift of knowing that you are spirit, of knowing that you will never die, of knowing that you are eternal through your own experience, is what this is for, what the purpose of this mind training is for, which will clear the way for experience and prepare the way for you to be able to have that experience. And as I've said before, nothing can prepare you for that experience, but you can prepare the way through the action of what would you call it, offering the world you made in denial of truth to the Holy Spirit, or to the Spirit of love, to be reinterpreted for you. And that happens through mind training, believe it or not, through prayer, through miracles, through faith, definitely through faith. All right. So lesson 29, and we're getting into the God lessons now. So if you have a bit of an aversion to the word God, try to stay with it, try to stay with me, and just remember that God is beyond human description. So if you've already got a bunch of ideas of what you think God is or isn't, or I don't like God because of this or that term because of that, or religion, or all that sort of stuff, because it tends to be quite a loaded word when you talk to anybody in today's society. But just try to think the idea that I don't know what the fuck God is. I'm just going to listen to this lesson and see if something in this lesson stays with me, makes sense, all right? So, and it's not going to make sense ultimately until you have your own experience of direct union with God, but that's entirely possible. It's not something that you have to travel to India for, or have to spend a lifetime in meditation 5-10 hours a day for, or any of that stuff. We're just doing these lessons, and it's so far we're using about 12 minutes of our day in devotion to these lessons, and then applying them to our troubles and our troubled thoughts as we go through the day if we need to. So you're not asked very much in the outset. You're not asked to participate particularly, much. So, all right, lesson 29, God is in everything I see. The idea for today explains why you can see all purpose in anything. God is in everything I see. It explains why nothing is separate by itself or in itself. And it explains why nothing you see means anything. In fact, it explains every idea we have used thus far, and all subsequent ones as well. Today's idea is the whole basis for vision. You will probably find this idea very difficult to grasp at this point. You may find it silly, irreverent, senseless, funny, and even objectionable. Certainly, God is not in a table, for example, as you see it. Yet we emphasized yesterday that a table shares the purpose of the universe. And what shares the purpose of the universe shares the purpose of its creator. Right? Everything works for the greater good. You may deny that. You may think, how can that be when babies are born malformed and when people have disease? How can everything work for the greater good? All right. When you take your spiritual path singularly, when I put my finger on my nose and I see that everything that is happening in the world, everything that is going on is a reminder, is an opportunity to remember for myself, right, that the world is not my home and that it's of utmost importance for me to awaken from the dream of separation and in my own association bring an end, pardon me, got hiccups, bring an end to the cycles of karma that continually bring me shit after shit after shit, one situation after another, right? Then everything becomes a gift, no matter how bad you may want to call it or how pleasant it might be, remembering that it's only me that's given it that definition. This is bad, this is good, right? In the eternal realm where everything is actually what reality is, there is no good or bad. There is only love, unconditional love. This world is not that. Right? We are travelers here. We're lost in space. We are castaways. We are whatever. And we have finally found something that makes sense, right? Albeit somebody came 2,000 years ago to tell us the same shit, right? Something that makes sense to tell us, hey, you're not from here. Hey, don't get comfortable here. Stop building empires in the world. You're not from the world. You're eternal beings. You need to continue on in the journey of your soul. Let's get the fucking hell out of here. You know, and that might be a big one. You're probably going, what the fuck? But that's the nuts and bolts of it. That's the truth of it. Question your reality. It's like, why is this the way it is? Why is there a fucking bushfire over there now? Can you see that? Why is there a bushfire over there now obliterating my beautiful sunset? Why does everything I try to do here end in shit? You know? And I'm sure that bushfire wasn't there a minute ago. It's probably a cane fire. Anyone that doesn't know this area, we're surrounded by sugarcane fields and it's the harvest now, so all the farmers are burning off. But anyway, so on with it. You'll probably find this idea very difficult to grasp at this point. You may find it silly, irreverent, senseless, funny, and even objectionable. Certainly God is not in a table, for example, as you see it. Yet we emphasized yesterday that a table shares the purpose of the universe, and what shares the purpose of the universe shares the purpose of its creator. Try then today to begin to learn how to look on all things with love, appreciation, and open-mindedness. Open-mindedness, right? You do not see them now. Would you know what is in them? Nothing is as it appears to you. Its holy purpose stands beyond your little range. When vision has shown you the holiness that lights up the world, you will understand today's idea perfectly. God is in everything I see. When vision, listen, when vision has shown you the holiness that lights up the world, you will understand today's idea perfectly, and you will not understand how you could ever have found it difficult. All right. Our 6 2-minute practice periods for today should follow a now familiar pattern. Begin with repeating the idea to yourself, and then apply it randomly to chosen subjects about you, naming each one specifically. Try to avoid the tendency towards self-directed selection, which may be particularly tempting in connection with today's idea because of its wholly alien nature. Alien nature. Remember that any order you impose is equally alien to reality. Alien to reality. I'm not dropping any clues there. I just find it amusing. Your list of subjects should therefore be as free of self-selection as possible. For example, a suitable list might include God is in this coat hanger, God is in this magazine, God is in this finger, God is in this lamp, God is in that body, God is in that door. Turn the page, God is in the page. God is in that wastebasket. In addition to the assigned practice periods, repeat the idea for today at least once an hour, looking slowly about you as you say the words unhurriedly to yourself. At least once or twice you should experience a sense of restfulness as you do this. Right? And the goal of this course is inner peace. And at about this point in the lessons, you should be beginning to get a sense of the idea of the nature of things, just a little glimpse of it maybe, right? The first 50 lessons, as I said at the beginning, are an encompassment of the whole philosophy of the thought system, right? It's the nuts and bolts of all of this, right? And this is only one of 2 books, but you should be beginning to get a sense of the direction that this mind training is taking you towards, right? And let it be confronting. If it pushes a lot of buttons, if it brings up a lot of shit, and if you find that you're objectionable to it and everything, let it be that way. There's nothing wrong with being objectionable to things. I know in modern day society we're all very politically something or other, and we get objectionable to people using the wrong terms. You're not allowed to say poof or queer, or you're not allowed to call somebody a darky or a fucking, you know. We're just fucking off tap with political correctness, you know. And I know that those terms are not everyday terms. I'm just trying to elaborate how crazy shit is getting in the world. So, you know, it's crazy in here. All right, so that's it. Let it be confronting. Let it be upsetting. Let yourself throw the book across the room. Throw it in the bin. Do whatever you want to do with it. All right. And I'll just tell you a funny little story in that. It's like I threw 2 books out. I actually threw one away. I didn't throw it away. I used it for fire paper in my teepee when I was living on a commune many years ago. I used it for kindling paper to light my fire because I thought I was never going to get my head around it. Right? I thought I'm never going to get this. Fuck it. I'll give up. And then some months later, I realised that this book was telling me the only truthful thing that I actually ever fucking heard in my life. Went out and bought another copy and got so frustrated with it that I started using it for toilet paper because I ran out of toilet paper. It's a bit sacrilegious. And eventually I bought my 3rd copy, which at $25 each, I thought I can't afford to buy too many more of these books. I better just put it on the shelf. So, and another funny little one too, and my friend Liz, I gave her a copy of A Course in Miracles many years ago, 10 years ago or so now, and she wrote her name, or I wrote her name in the front of it for her, and she got so frustrated with it, she threw it off her balcony into the mangroves. She lived right by the sea. She threw it out into the mangrove swamp and thought nothing else of it, and then a year later or something, she bumped into some guy and introduced her. Hi, I'm Liz, and da-da-da-da-da. And he goes, you're joking, he goes, I found a book in the mangroves that's got your name in it, and gave it back to her. You know, so it's funny. If you're meant to have this, you're meant to have it, right? So let it be confronting. Let it bring up every fucking ism that you've got going, all right? And let it push all your buttons, because the purpose of this is healing. Right? We are all one. We are all spirit. And the definitions that you give to colour, creed, race, prejudice, bigotry, fucking every humanism doesn't make a damn difference. Right? We're all one, and we are love. And that's what we are about in doing these lessons. All right, peace.